Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sunday Special. Today, I'm joined by Helen Chorley. Hello, Helen.
Good
Uh,
morning.
Helen is the only person who was so well behaved at Property Investor Awards last night, and she actually made it to the Sunday Special. Well done, Helen. I'm proud of you. Proud of
Yeah,
you.
I get the Survivors Award. Yeah, although my voice is a little bit, it was going by the end of the night.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
was,
You're getting. We call it the next morning award.
yeah, woohoo!
Nice one. Well, yeah, how was the awards? You were there handing out the awards and announcing the
I
winners.
was co-hosting with Ranjan, so yeah, got to announce 5 of the 10 winners. And I really loved it. The venue was great, the food was great. It was a lovely atmosphere.
Hmm.
It was excited but not too mad, although as we've established, I left at midnight because I turned into a pumpkin after that, and obviously I knew I had to do this today, so I took it. I took it
Nice.
pretty. Yeah, I took it pretty easy. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
well
even
done.
though it was such good fun. It was nice to see. What I love about that award and that those awards and that kind of group is that there's so many different groups that come together.
Mm,
There was people from PIP, Partners in Property. I had a Property Sisters table. Some of them are sponsored by the judges, or kind of different companies, and there's just lots of people from different communities. There was somebody from actually there's a few representatives from Danny Inman's Prosperity Network. So it's just a lovely opportunity for different parts of property to all come together and catch up and say hi and yeah, have a really lovely night.
nice, nice. It's always nice to like bump into people at those awards because the conversations are so much more lighthearted. There's like
Yes.
no talks, no nothing, like just kind of conversations and chat about what happened in the last year, which is always
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And what I had
Nice.
lots of people come up to me telling me that most people came up to me telling me that they listened to this show on a Sunday. I was like, thank you for listening.
Oh, nice.
Loads of people
Look,
did. It
look,
was
look who
really
just
good.
joined. Look who just joined. There we go.
Oh, yes.
Hello, Adam.
We have the triumvirate. We can't hear you
Hi.
though.
We can't hear you.
Yes.
Oh, now.
You can't.
Now
Yeah,
can.
now it's good. Yeah. Nice
Fabulous.
one. How are you this morning?
I'm okay, thank you. I'm feeling fresh. Not that I want to press that on those who may be feeling a little hoarse or otherwise. How are you
Yeah,
guys?
well,
Have a good night.
It was really fun. It was a really, really nice night. We had a lovely table. Jay was there, and yeah, he partied long after I did. I was sensible and pre-booked my taxi to go home. And then
Who was on there?
Will Mallard was on the table that you and I have done lots of podcasts with. We had lots of Property Sisters, Amy Rowlinson, Joe Lightfoot, and Tatiana, whose surname I can never pronounce. So yeah, good representation from the Property Sisters. And Rob Mason from your gang, Partners in Property. And who else did we have? And Dom and Luke from Auction Buyers Club. So we had a nice little
yes.
Oh, sounds
mix.
like a lot of fun. Lovely.
It was
Lovely.
really, yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah, and it's so great to hear as well that 3 out
Good.
of 10 awards were to current or ex Auction Buyers Club members.
Woohoo! Really amazing.
Fantastic. So I know Safe one, but who were the others, Piotr?
Well, Swan, she won 2 awards for HMO Deal of the Year, and I think HMO
Oh,
Investor
did
of the
she?
Year. Yeah,
She's a rock star.
she's a
Yeah,
rock star. Yes.
she is, and a Property Sister. Yay!
Nice. Well, it's yeah, we unfortunately lost Jay to the celebrations, and he's unable to participate. Um, but yeah, good to have you on, Adam. Oh,
Yeah,
can you hear
the
me?
other winners were Jack Jiggins and Ben from XP, they won Deal of the Year. So they were really, really delighted. They had a whole table there. So really, and they brought all their crew up on stage, which I thought was really sweet. Bless them.
Oh, nice.
Lizzie Warburton won New Investor of the Year, which I was really delighted about.
I saw that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's the presenter of Property Elevator. And I don't think people know that actually she invests herself. She's done a number of different deals. She sources, she's done some flips, she's done loads of different things. So that was very well deserved. So I was absolutely, delighted for her. Deal of the Year was, I can't pronounce the company. Was it Rehoboth? Sam from Rehoboth?
Well, Rehoboth, yes. Something like
that was a really kind of complicated deal. Maybe we'll go into that one week, but not today because my brain isn't firing on all cylinders.
We'll keep it simple
Investor
today.
of the Year was Max Scott from Star
Max
Properties.
Scott,
So
yes.
Yeah. And Joseph Cole got commercial.
And Manny Chopra for HMO Deal of the Year.
And Manny, yes. So we had great representation from the ladies as well.
I know.
Yeah, it's really super.
Really good, really good. I'd really like to know what each deal was for, and what was the deciding factor for those people winning the awards. I know from Safe.
Great.
That's fair.
I'm going to go camera off, guys, because I'll be driving. So
okay,
sounds good. Because I know obviously Safe. He's in Auction Buyers Club, and like we do a lot of business together, and I see the kind of stuff he does, and I remember like we were together on this Marbella mastermind retreat, like was it like 3 years ago, Adam? I think it was exactly 3 years ago.
Right.
And since that, like the way Safe crew was like quite spectacular. So it's great to see how the plan he made or the plan he presented over there, like it's just like going exactly like he imagined. So really happy for him.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful. I think with him, well, none of the other judges, we don't know how each of us votes. But with Safe, with his application, the amount of the deals that he was doing, and they were really interesting kind of deals. So he was really impressive application. So very, very well deserved.
Amazing. Really good. Well, Adam, since we have you on, maybe we can discuss the supplement as well, and the brief, the cliff notes from the supplement, and the weather forecast.
Yes, it's a bit of a long one today, I'm afraid to say. Can you hear me okay, Piotr?
We can hear you well, yes.
Okay, super. Bit of a long one. I got quite stuck into a bit of a soapbox, almost rant style piece, because I'm getting a bit fed up of the sensationalization of the whole cost of living thing and the property market and this and that and the other. And I suppose the central point I was trying to make was, the more likely scenario is that nothing earth-shattering will particularly happen next year as people start to sort of turn their thoughts towards predictions for the next 12 months. Yeah. Which I know doesn't get people to click and wouldn't sell papers if I was trying to sell papers or whatever. But the whole sort of idea of, there's going to be a crash, I suppose that's what's niggling at me the most, because I just don't think there is going to be, unless there's an unseen factor or factors that, we just don't know is going to happen quite yet. If anything, compared to 2 months ago, we're actually in much better shape than we were. And because another thing that we all didn't really see coming, because they messed up quite so spectacularly with their statement when Truss was PM and Kwarteng was Chancellor, we might have seen the top in the bond yields and the swap market. for this cycle, which was around the sort of 5.1 for the gilts and maybe about 5.5 for the swaps briefly. Now, this market couldn't handle 5.5 for any sustained period of time, but it wasn't a sustained period of time. It was a couple of weeks before there was so much pressure that they basically had to resign. So there's then this kind of slightly weird thing going on where the relationship is that the base rate is slow and is moving along at a certain pace, and is still catching up and is still on an upward trend. But really, that's only actually relevant to those of us who've got debt that's pegged to the base rate, whereas those of us who are using debt that comes from the swap markets, generally speaking, or the pricing comes from the swap markets anyway, they've actually seen the peak, and that's on the way down. Now, we could be lulled into a false sense of security it's going to come down a long way. That strikes me as unlikely still, but it's coming down a reasonable amount, which we've all got to be reasonably thankful for. And this week we've seen, as I predicted some weeks ago, we'd see some sub 5.5 before the end of the year on the 5-year fixes. There is a bit of 5.4 out there, which is good to see that I could manage to hit the barn door with that one. But I think couple of points on that one, really. One, I wouldn't let that stop you from applying if you think rates are going to come down, because if the rates from your particular provider come down, and that's what happened to us, the one with the lowest rates we've seen that we can access is Paragon, and we had some applications in at 5.69 that have now been reverted to 5.4, which is great. So we've saved 30 basis points during the application process, which is still slow. And obviously we recover a bit of margin there. And I think the key point that people need to get their head around in terms of, because I've seen that this week as well, buy to let doesn't work anymore. I mean, buy to let's been dead more times than Lazarus. But the reason why it will always survive is that the income and the total returns from the property will morph, and the way they're going to morph over the next 5 years is in rental growth, generally speaking, because capital growth, I think, will have a reasonably tough time. I'm not bought into the fact that prices are going to fall a lot, as I've said, but you can make these sweeping statements like I've said, prices should go down. But my forecast is much more in the sort of 3 to 5% region than it is in the 10 to 20% region, like a lot of the banks and investment houses and commentators are saying. So that's if prices going down scares you on its own before you even ask the question about how much do they go down, then you need to ask different questions. You need to reframe that, I think, in your head. So and then I've gone through the best forecast that I've really seen, because obviously last week I was dealing with the budget primarily. And this week, I've looked at the Office for Budget Responsibility, which is the independent government body that produces the data upon which the Treasury relies upon for a budget. And I've given that not exactly a line by line, but I've taken the meat from their work and commented on some of that in terms of how accurate I think it is. And the good news, I think, is that the government are probably working from the best forecasts that we've got in the shorter term, because a lot of it does make sense. Unemployment to go up to nearly 5%, whereas we've seen some very bearish forecasts of it going up to 6.5 or 7.5. And they think a year-long recession, which remember is already upon us, because Q3 there was a drop in output, and Q4 inflation is so very high that, remember, inflation is measured by real GDP. It's mathematically impossible for us to grow beyond a level of sort of 11% inflation in this quarter, so it guarantees recession. But they think about 4 quarters long, which means we're out of it by this time next year, which I think is a bit of a positive. The flip side of that forecast is they still think that inflation is going to drop off very dramatically there are several reasons why I don't think that's right, which I've got into in more detail in the supplement. But one being, the energy price cap slips to £3,000 per average household rather than £2,500 in April next year. That will keep inflation nice and high because the gas prices are so high apart from anything else, and there's not an awful lot of chance they're going to come down too much before then. Even if Russia were to pull out of Ukraine today, it's still unlikely the futures market will repair itself particularly quickly. And we all know that's not happening anyway in terms of Russia, and there's probably more to come rather than less, unfortunately. And other than that, if inflation did go down as the OBR think that it will do, that would see us drop interest rates dramatically again in order to get the economy started. Maybe base would go down to about 1%, but before anybody gets excited, as I said, I think they're wrong. And that's why we won't be seeing 1% base rates again. But you would hope that one guy and his keyboard were not as good as the Office for Budget Responsibility. So maybe they are. They're more likely to be right than I am. So let's hope. It's a no-lose situation either way. But the risks are still there on the upside for all the interest rate movement. And that's what sort of will preoccupy me and be something to keep an eye on. And then it'll be that same job of filtering out the real issues from the sensationalized media issues, really. So it was that long this week. The cliff notes are even dead long, Piotr, I'm afraid. But that's that's sort of what I've.
Yeah, that's definitely gives some a really good overlook of what the market is thinking or where the market is heading, right? Because that's what we need, kind of making decisions whether to buy stuff or not. And I think, like we keep saying this, but it's like if you're buying for medium to long term, right now it's such a great opportunity to buy. Like now, Auction Buyers Club this week, last week by itself, we did, like us and the members, we did about 7 deals, pretty much one every day, because of the amount of quality stock that's out there that needs to be sold before December, and especially now before December, like everyone wants to close deals before Christmas. It's such a pressurized period, and there are deals out there that are not going to happen again probably in February or March, because everything will be kind of like starting again for the next year. So yeah, thanks for the breakdown, Adam. That's really good. It's really good to have that overview.
I just wish your camera was on so I could see like your happy little face, knowing that what you predicted came true.
Oh wow. Yeah, but one of the successes from this week also we had was selling this big office block in the auction for Dominic. I'm pretty sure Dominic is listening. But that was a brilliant kind of deal from them, and we sold it finally in the auction for a decent amount of money. So that could be a trade of the year next year. Hint, hint.
Well, that's what I like. I really hope that people like feel inspired, like go on and speak to the winners and see what they did. And I was speaking to like everybody I spoke to, I'm like, what about you applying? And the common theme when you speak to people was, well, what I do isn't special. I'm like, well, it's not special to you because you just do it every day. But how do you know it's not special compared to what other people are doing? It's and that's why I said like the beauty of being a judge is, and Adam's a judge next year, aren't you? You're on the panel with us. Yay.
Nice.
That we get to see what is and isn't special, and we can compare, whereas people are just in their lane, getting on with it, head down, day to day, kind of doing the same thing, and they don't know if what they're doing is any better or different or special or more creative than other people, but we do. And that's why I'm like, encourage people to apply, because I don't think people like really recognize how you know, how good some of the stuff that they're doing is and deserves to be recognized. So
Yeah, definitely. So, Dominic, look, application in. When's the application starting?
I think
Probably
they open
something like.
in March time.
Okay, still some time.
Something like that. So little while, gosh, but that will be here soon, no doubt. And then but then you've got a long time to get the applications in till
Like July or
kind of
something,
the end
right?
of the summer. Then the judging days, we have 2 judging days in September, and then the awards in November, like last night.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. Really good. Really good. Looks like we lost Adam. My felt he's done his job and he left.
He did.
No,
He came on, he delivered.
he came on and delivered, and obviously everyone can catch up on the supplement on partners-property.com, the blog site, the blog post that Adam does. And yeah, it looks like Adam is back. Welcome back, Adam. I thought you left for good. No? Yes? Oops. Sorry.
Yeah, we had a lovely chat with some of your other Auction Buyers Club members and past members too. Ed was there. Ed's watching this morning. Morning, Ed. Lovely to see him too.
Yeah, we're in a deal with Ed on this Bristol warehouses. I think by March, I think we'll be ready to submit an application.
Oh, yay! Fabulous.
It's it's looking good so far. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Well, let's. I think this morning is quite a difficult one to kind of make this Sunday special kind of very interactive and stuff, because number one, it's our special Jay is out of the game. Adam is driving. And also I think a lot of the listeners are hungover today. So I think
probably Ross is on a plane.
Ross is
yes,
on a
I
plane.
think there will be a lot of sore heads this morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a good night. So
got Ross commenting. It's a good
sign.
Good morning. Good sign. And yeah, but I do feel like a lot of people are suffering this morning. I think we should.
Yes, correct. She's saying, yeah, she's got a sore head.
Yeah,
it's great form. She's also on our table. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So yeah, let's maybe save some energy for next week. I will come back and maybe next week we can discuss some of the deals that happen and maybe even invite the people who are the award winners and just have discussions with them. And yeah.
Cool. That's a great idea. I think people would like to hear from them. Really good idea.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sounds good. Well, if you're listening to this in bed, you can go back to sleep. And yeah, if you're not, if you're active, wishing you a good day. And we'll be back next week with a much longer episode.
Bye, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.